You've tried to communicate better. You've tried to fight less. You've told yourself you're going to do things differently this time. And then something happens. Your partner says the wrong thing or doesn't say anything at all. And you react in exactly the same way you always have. And you think, why do I keep doing this? What is wrong with me? Nothing is wrong with you, but something did get baked into you a long time ago. And until you understand what that is, it's going to keep showing up and running the show. By the end of this video, I want you to be able to look back at how you grew up and finally understand why you show up in the way you do in your relationships. And here's what I need you to hold on to while we go through this. None of what we're talking about today is your fault, but it is your responsibility. And I'll explain exactly what I mean by that by the end. I'm Karen with A Better Relationship Coaching. This is video in my series of being unhappy in your relationship. I'm going to link the full series below. In the last video, we talked about why your relationship with yourself is the foundation of everything. And today we're going into that deeper, into where all these patterns actually come from in the first place. Here's something most people never stop to consider. Everything you know about relationships, you learned before you were even old enough to question it. In those early years in your life, you were absorbing everything. What does a normal relationship look like? What do people expect from me? What can I expect from others? Is it safe to talk about how I feel, or do I need to figure things out on my own? How is love expressed? What happens when there's conflict? Where am I safe? Where am I loved? You weren't consciously learning any of this, you were just living it. And all of those experiences got baked into you, as I say, into your core beliefs about relationships, as the things you simply know to be true, even without thinking about it explicitly. We just operate as though these things are true. Not healthy necessarily, just normal. Just your normal and what's to be expected. And here's the critical part. You brought all of those beliefs and expectations into your adult relationships. You didn't have a choice in that unless you intentionally put in the work to learn something else. It's all you had. So if it wasn't safe or comfortable to talk about things when you were growing up, if everything got swept under the rug or people retreated to their own corners until they were ready to pretend nothing happened, as one person described it to me, then you never actually learned the skills to have those conversations as an adult. And they're definitely skills. We don't think of them that way, but they absolutely are. And if you were never taught them, you simply don't have them yet. That's not a character flaw, that's just a gap right now. If conflict in your home was loud and explosive, if that's how things got handled or how needs were met, then that becomes your blueprint as well. You may follow that same pattern because it's what feels familiar, or you may go in the complete opposite direction and avoid conflict entirely because your nervous system decided early on that the safest thing to do was get as far away from it as possible. This is an important piece that I want you to think about. When you're young, you don't really get to consciously choose which one you're going to use. It's not a decision that you make intentionally. It's what feels safest to your nervous system at that time. So that's what you did. And if it worked in some way to keep you safe, connected, feeling like you were able to take care of yourself the best way you were able to in those moments, then it made sense. Now, and this is what I really want you to hear, this does not have to be the final answer. It is completely 100% possible to learn new ways of showing up for yourself and your relationship, to replace those old tools and skills that you learned that aren't working for you now as an adult with ones that actually serve you and can help you in your relationships, that can help you feel more connected and not just in self-protection mode all the time. But until you do that work, you will keep reaching for the same tools that you've always been using because they're the only ones in your toolbox right now. I still owe you that distinction between fault and responsibility, and it's coming up. I think it's going to land differently once I talk about this next part. The avoiding and fighting patterns are the ones we talk about the most, but there are other things that get baked into us during childhood that show up just as powerfully in your adult relationships. And they're the ones people almost never connect back to where they came from. For example, were you allowed to have privacy growing up? To have your own opinions, your own inner world, your own sense of self that didn't have to be shared or explained or justified? Or did that feel unsafe and not allowed? Were you able to dress in a way that felt genuine to how you were feeling and wanted to express yourself? Or were you told you couldn't wear certain things? Were you allowed to keep some things to yourself? Or did someone have access to all of you all the time? Were you allowed to make choices for yourself? Or did you learn early on that the right thing to do was what you were told, no questions asked? Were you allowed to just be a kid? Or did you find yourself taking care of other people emotionally, practically, or both long before you should have had to? Or another situation that I see a lot, did you become really good at reading the room? It's scanning the emotional temperature of your home the moment you walked in and then adjusting yourself, shrinking, performing, managing in order to keep things okay, depending on what was needed at the time. This is especially common for people who grew up with a parent who struggled with some form of addiction, mental health issues, or any other kind of situation that led to a lot of unpredictability, instability, chaos. When your caregiver is unpredictable and you don't know what you're going to get, you learn to be hypervigilant. You learn to monitor, adapt, and then become whatever the moment calls for. And it's not that your parents or caregivers were necessarily trying to create harm or instability. It may have happened with no ill intent at all. But either way, it still shaped you. It still taught you things about relationships and what the expectation was for you to be able to stay safe and connected. It taught you whether your needs matter, whether it's safe to take up space, and we carry those lessons with us until we learn how to let them go. This is why you might find yourself automatically making yourself smaller in your relationship, or why asking for what you need feels almost impossible, why you feel this constant low-level anxiety about how your partner is feeling and what that means for you and how you can adjust and fix the situation, even if maybe it's not your responsibility. That stuff is not random. It has an origin. And when you can see where it came from, it starts to lose some of its power over you. If this is giving you language for things that you felt but have never really been able to name, please hit like and subscribe, because we're going to start talking about what it actually looks like to do the work and come out of the other side of this differently. So what did I mean when I said that none of this is your fault, but it is your responsibility? Here's what I'm saying. Well, you didn't choose any of this. You didn't choose your family, your environment, the tools you were given, or the ones that you weren't. The patterns you developed were your nervous system doing exactly what it was supposed to do to keep you safe with what it had at the time. And none of that was your fault. But now here you are, and you have choices you didn't have back then. Those same patterns that kept you safe as a child are quietly running your relationship today. And now that you can see them, now that you can name them and understand where they came from, what you do with that knowledge and awareness is up to you. And that is your responsibility. It's not blame or shame. It's just honest recognition that you are the one and the only one who can decide to pick up new tools. But here is the really good news. You can absolutely make these changes. Is it work? Does it take time, energy, and practice? Yes, of course. But is it worth it? Absolutely. Now, knowing all of this is one thing, but how do you actually do something about it? Actually begin to show up differently for yourself and in your relationship when those patterns are so deeply baked into you. In my next video, I'm going to talk about what that looks like, what it means to do this work in a real practical way that changes how you feel in your relationship day to day. If what we talked about today is stirring something in you and you want to get started with some more clarity, tools, and resources, I want you to check out my community that offers this exact kind of support. Understanding your patterns, where they come from, how to start shifting them, this is the heart of what I do. I would love to be able to support you on your journey. The link is in the description below. And in the next video, we're getting into what this work actually looks like in practice, because understanding your patterns is the beginning, but it's not the whole thing. I want you to know what comes next. Subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss it, and I will see you there. Hey, if this was helpful for you at all, please don't forget to subscribe, give it a thumbs up, share it with someone else who needs to hear it. It really helps other people be able to find these videos.